All right, so it's just after 12:30 on March 30th, 2021. And again, welcome to the virtual public information session for Dart Connect. It's great to have you all here today, and we'll, being conscious of everyone's time, we will get started. If you miss anything during today's event, as I mentioned, if we have limited Q&A during this, we will repeat this presentation again beginning at 1 o'clock. We will also record this presentation and post it to our website for the Dart Connect program, which is located at dartfirststate.com/programs/dartconnect. Just some basic items to orient you to the webinar. So I want to start with introductions. My name is Nathan Attard. I am the strategic planner in the Office of Innovation at the Delaware Transit Corporation, which does business in Delaware as Dart First State. I'm also joined on the webinar by Veronica Vanterpool, who's the Chief Innovation Officer of the Delaware Transit Corporation. We will both field questions together at the end. A couple of things as to webinar logistics. Everyone on this webinar is currently on mute. We will have, again, a presentation of about 20 minutes today, followed by a question and answer period. You can ask questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You can also use the raise hand function, and we will unmute you during the Q&A period. Please note, you will also have to unmute yourself on your device. If you call in using your phone, feel free to email us questions. We have a program-specific email for Dart Connect at dtc_dartconnect@delaware.gov, and we will display this email address at the end of the presentation. So we're here today because everyone is interested in or affected by the change of the 901-902 flex routes to Dart Connect. Dart Connect is on-demand microtransit service. Microtransit means what it sounds like. So think about like a microscope. So smaller vehicles serving fewer people than conventional bus routes, traveling to more precise locations where people are coming from or going to. In transit language, microtransit is a demand response service, very similar to the type of service DTC DART provides for paratransit. DART has tried to do demand response service before, and the Flex is a great attempt at that, where people could book deviations off the main routes of the Flex within 1 mile of the route. Many people took advantage of this service. However, this service with COVID ceased in March of 2020. The routes themselves continued as a fixed route service. In August 2020, DART was notified that it received a Federal Transit Administration grant to convert the 901-902 bus routes into a microtransit service as part of an integrated mobility system for Sussex County. This is a new type of service to Delaware. As you can see on the slide, this is a 12-month pilot. Throughout this project, with customer feedback, ridership trends, and other criteria, we were interested in investigating this type of service to see whether it is successful in serving Georgetown, Millsboro, and possibly other places around Delaware. Our project partner on this is Via Transportation, a company through which DART is licensing the use of its software to power the service. Via has extensive experience both directly operating this type of service with its own drivers and vehicles, as well as licensing its services to transit agencies like DART. This project began with a number of different types of goals. Among our goals, improve mobility. We estimate that about twice as many people will have convenient transit service accessible within a walk from their home with this service than they had with the 901-902 service. This project will also improve frequency and reliability of transit in Georgetown and Millsboro. People are 15 minutes or less away from a bus ride at any given time during our service hours, which it contrasts with the frequency of the former 901 and 902, where frequency was hourly. This will transform the transit experience in many ways. It will allow people to be able to precisely track their ride so they know when to expect their bus using an app. If running late, it will provide messages to users letting them know. It will also let people know when their bus is available and provide them notice so that they can get there as quick as possible if their bus has arrived. It will also allow for connections to our other DART buses, namely the 206, the 212, the 215, and the 303, to get around the county and the state on a time frame without a long wait. This project also has a goal to deliver cost-effective service in rural communities. We can provide similar service to a much broader area, as mentioned earlier, for the same cost versus, say, adding another circulator style bus service in Georgetown and Millsboro. And we just want to reiterate that this is a test, it's a pilot program. If it doesn't work, DART is there for you, and we will look for other ways to serve you in a way that is effective. As transit users, you're likely aware of our existing DART bus service in Georgetown and Millsboro. You can see it here on our map, which is available on dartfirststate.com. We've got the 201. The 204 is just out of view here. The 206, the 212, the 215, as well as the 303, which is pictured as a stop, but not as a route on this map. We also have here the flex zones served by the current 901 and 902. As mentioned earlier, in recent months, the flex has not been flexing, and users have been using those buses largely as a fixed route service or conventional bus. Customers have likely noticed that there are very long schedule stops at different locations on the route because of the end of the deviations, where previously a more dynamic route would have been picking people up off the main route. Also pictured here, the Georgetown Transit Hub, which is by far the busiest transit stop in Georgetown and Millsboro pre-COVID, serving about 135 people on and off the bus each day. So DART Connect, as I mentioned, DART Connect, and when we use that term, we're speaking specifically about the microtransit service. As I said a minute ago, microtransit is what it sounds like, basically micro in every way. So smaller vehicles serving fewer numbers of riders than fixed route service, fewer people on board our buses, stops that are more precisely located closer to where you're coming from and going to. So unlike the 901 and 902 routes, all of the service on DART Connect will be on demand. Rides are shared. The bus picks you up with other people going in the same direction. So routes are flexible. If the same people are riding the bus every day, the bus ride that you have is likely going to look very much the same every day. However, we know that there's always different people on our service throughout days and on different days. For riders, the experience is likely going to be a little bit different every day. Our software does its best to minimize delay. You'll know how long your trip takes when you book, and you won't be waiting for everyone in the neighborhood who needs a ride within the next hour, only within a reasonable period of time. So this program seeks to provide more convenient connections to our other fixed route services. By this summer, you'll be able to coordinate your DART Connect ride with your DART bus ride to minimize wait times between connections. As you can see, with dozens of new destinations, we've effectively doubled the service area of our previous 901 and 902 service with this project. And we have a customized app, which we'll introduce you today to. The app is also called DART Connect. It'll be available by April 1st, and it'll be available on the App Store, so your Google Play and your Apple App Stores. In addition, because we know that not everyone has access to a phone, which can operate apps, commonly known as a smartphone, we also have a call-in number for this service, which Flex users will recognize as the same call-in number used to book a trip for the Flex. It is 1-800-652-DART, clicking on option 3. In a matter of 2 minutes, you will have a ride booked with details on when it's coming and where it's going to pick you up. And if you have a cell phone, but it's not app capable, the system will actually automatically send you texts as to your update, even if you're booking by phone. So pilot service territory, you can see the blue areas on the map are where the initial DART Connect service area will be located. For those of you familiar with 901 and 902, you can see it is roughly the service area of those former services. When we look at destinations on the left-hand side, we can see that most of these places were covered by the 901 and 902, but it does give us an opportunity to serve some additional areas. As we recover from COVID and try to get people safely to work, we're excited that this will create many new connections to employers that didn't previously exist. This slide is a preview of the DART Connect app. As mentioned, it will be in the app stores in the next couple of days. It's there for you to get used to. Unfortunately, you will not be able to book rides on Dart Connect until April 12th. Here you can see how the app will look and work. If you know your location on, if your phone is basically enabled to display location, the app will automatically be able to detect where you're located and where you potentially want to ride from. You can see on the second screen an example of dragging a pin to a location to which you would like to travel. Those are the two main things that you need to be able to book a trip using the Dart Connect app. There are also other questions that will be asked. For example, how many people are traveling with you and what type of fare payment will be made for them. So we'll talk a little bit about fares in a couple of slides. The third app image that you can see there is the directions that you'll get once you have booked a trip. So unlike, say, our paratransit demand response service, this one does ask our users to walk just a little bit to a nearby intersection so that we can maximize the amount of time that our vehicles have to serve people. So you can see in the example here, this person was asked to walk to the corner of their street. The app will continue to provide you updates as to the location of your ride. So if, for example, your ride gets delayed, the estimate on the app will be updated in real time. And in addition, I just want to state again, the other option for booking rides is by calling the same number used for the Flex in the past, 1-800-652-DART, option 3. So Dart Connect itself has no fixed bus stops. Around Georgetown and Millsboro, there are 36 fixed route bus stops currently, and all of them will have signs indicating how to use Dart Connect. So download an app or call Dart, option 3. Many of you transit users out there know that our phone number is on all of the signs, so that will be readily available for people to be able to call. In some cases, if you happen to live very close to a fixed route bus stop, you will in fact pick up Dart Connect at that stop. But in most cases, customers will be directed to walk a short distance to a safe intersection or location to meet the vehicle. So it generally does not pick up people in front of their home or drop them off immediately in front of their destination. So in terms of fares, this is obviously a new service for Dart and its employees, as well as Dart and its customers. And we're all in this together. So for a 30-day promotional period, between April 12th and May 11th, all rides on Dart Connect are going to be free. That is to allow you all the opportunity to learn how to use the service, as well as for us to learn how to operate this in a way that is worth the fare that you pay us every day. Beginning on Wednesday, May 12th, rides will follow the existing dartfirststate fixed route fare policy. So generally $2 a ride, honoring passes and discounts. So this service is paid for by using cash. All of the vehicles in the pilot will continue to have fare boxes. So you'll pay your fare similar to the way you pay on a fixed route bus, where you insert your exact fare and the operator does not offer change. In addition, we also do plan to integrate this with DartPass, and that integration is underway. So people will be able to directly through their Dart Connect app pay for their fare using a linked DartPass account so that they don't have to carry cash and can pay using a credit card. A few things on service. We just want to confirm for everyone that there is not, in fact, a fixed schedule for this service. It is a demand response service. So if you need a ride, give us a call or use the app. The service hours for this service will be from 5:45 a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday. This is the exact same service hours currently covered by routes 901 and 902. We also are asking that customers, and they will not be able to through the app, book a trip after 7:45 p.m. Currently, that's when our operators are basically wrapping up their shifts. So we have to make sure we can get everyone to where they need to go in the service area before 8 o'clock p.m. So you ask, what will happen to the drivers of the 901 and 902? So this is a reprogramming within Dart. So the drivers of 901 and 902 will continue to drive for us and will be the drivers that you see every day driving Dart Connect vehicles. And a common question that we've received so far is, can I reserve a ride in advance? And the answer to that is no. This is a demand response service that does not take reservations. So rides are booked when you need them. And addressing a few questions on access. So if you are a wheelchair user, you are very much able to use Dart Connect. All of the vehicles in the Microtransit pilot are wheelchair accessible vehicles. And we do not ask wheelchair using customers to have to walk to the corner. They can get a pickup right in front of their home or where they're coming from or their destination. Simply toggle the wheelchair accessible vehicle option in the Dart Connect app, or when setting up a profile for Dart Connect, when you call in for the first time to 1-800-652-DART option 3, let the reservationist know that you are a wheelchair user. Can you book a ride for someone else, say someone who does not have a phone? So that example, or the answer to that is yes. So if you're traveling with other people, you can request a ride for them. So you can let people know, or you can let the app know, excuse me, how many people are with you, type of fare they would pay, and we'll anticipate them when we show up with the vehicle. The other thing we want to address is that if you represent an organization, we can provide you access to book rides for others. It's something that we're excited to do and help the different organizations in Georgetown and Millsboro, which serve the public, better integrate with transit service as part of this project. And then, is the app available in other languages? And this app is also available in Spanish. And the way that works is if your phone the language setting is for Spanish, this app, when downloaded, will display in Spanish. We just want to take a minute to preview the new branding and look of the Cutaway buses in Georgetown that are currently being used for 901, 902, but will be used for Dart Connect coming April 12th. This will make them look a little bit unique from our paratransit vehicles, so you'll be able to identify them. In addition, if you're an app user, it'll actually display a picture of the vehicle that is coming to pick you up, so it'll help you identify a type of vehicle. Not such important for this phase, but as this project evolves, it will continue to be important. So as I've hinted at, Microtransit is just the first phase of the Dart Connect project. In phase 2, which we're excited about, Dart Connect is going to become a truly integrated mobility system. You'll be able to connect your Dart Connect ride with your Dart bus ride so that you can catch Dart Connect from a bus stop for that first last mile connection for bus rides in Sussex County. In cases too, where perhaps a Dart Connect ride is less convenient than a fixed route bus ride, the Dart Connect app will actually suggest, hey, maybe I should take the fixed route bus. We're also in phase 2, which we anticipate to begin this summer, looking for ways to bring private mobility operators into the mix so rides with them can be booked through the Dart Connect app. And examples of those are taxis and non-emergency medical transportation vehicles. And phase 3, the integrated trip planning and booking functionality, which I described under phase 2, will extend statewide. So if you need a ride to Dover or Wilmington, the Dart Connect app can help coordinate that for you. And finally, we want to hear from you. We want to be able to keep you informed about our program. So we have a couple of options to do that. We have set up a website at dartfirststate.com/program/dartconnect. Or if you just go to the dartfirststate.com website, you can click on the Dart Connect image, which comes up. In addition, we have a dedicated email for this program, which is at dtc_dartconnect@delaware.gov. So with that, this concludes our 20-minute presentation for today, and we would be happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Nate, for a great presentation. And for those of you joining, there are two ways to submit questions. Either raise your hand or put a question in the Q&A. And I see we do have a question, Nate, in the Q&A, which I'll read off. Are there any flag stops whereby an individual can hail a bus, a Dart Connect vehicle?
And Veronica, the answer to that is no, there is no hailing under this service. So we encourage people to use the app and to call the phone number. Those are really the two ways that we have people seeking rides. If that becomes an issue, we can start to look at it, but this program is designed to not include hailing.
Thank you, Nate. I want to point out also that on our Dart Connect website, you can download some of our materials in English and Spanish. So we do have a coming soon flyer available in English and Spanish, and also an FAQ flyer also in English and Spanish. And we'll be adding Haitian Creole shortly. So both of those materials, the coming soon flyer and the FAQ, will be available in that language soon and posted to the website. So if you're serving, working with, or speak any of those languages, you can download and share news of Dart Connect with your networks.
Yeah, and keep checking out dartfirststate.com/program/dartconnect. We're adding new content every day. As we mentioned, we will be posting these workshop presentations there. So if you know people who aren't able to make it, they'll be able to watch. So they'll be able to get a good idea of how this works. In addition, the program is going to change over its life, as I've mentioned, with the different phases. So we're going to be adding exciting new components to it throughout the year that this is taking place.
So as Nate mentioned at the top of his presentation, we're going to repeat this presentation again. For those who may have joined a little later, missed a portion of it, you can drop off at any time. But in the next few minutes, Nate and I are just going to share some additional information that wasn't covered in the slides, just some contextual information. So one of the very exciting things about Dart Connect is this is a completely transformative way of utilizing transit, and it's new to the state of Delaware. So many of you may be familiar with ride sharing such as Uber or Lyft, and may have booked rides for yourselves using either of those platforms. And this is using a ride-share-like experience and applying that to transit. So this isn't meant, as Nate said in his comments, to provide individual trips for individual people. There are other services that do that. This is really providing a transit-like experience and ensuring that people are taking shared rides in a similar direction, in a shared direction. And that is the microtransit component, much like the transit experience now. When most people are boarding a bus, there are often other passengers on that bus traveling in the same direction with them. So this is, in a way, mimicking that, but with some key differences, such as the on-demand portion, getting a ride when you want it, when you open the app, and then not having that fixed route. So it may actually take less time to travel from the Georgetown Plaza to the Georgetown Transit Hub. Right now, if you're doing that on bus, that's about 23 minutes, but it could be and likely will be a shorter ride if you're using Dart Connect to get there. So just wanted to provide some additional context and scenarios and visuals for how this would work, but we're very excited. Microtransit has been piloted and also contracted in dozens of cities across the US, and then of course all over the world. And actually later this afternoon, we'll be talking a little bit more about our upcoming Dart Connect on a Microtransit webinar with Jersey City in New Jersey, and then King County Metro out of Washington State. And just talking about the different experiences and who we're serving, et cetera. So we're very excited to be part of this larger network of transit agencies that is looking at new service models to improve transit in communities, particularly our rural communities. I'm scrolling through and I don't see any hands. Oh, I see a Q&A. So we'll answer this live. The question is, why were flex deviations halted during COVID? Were people not using the service enough pre-COVID? So fortunately, we have one of our colleagues from Delaware Transit Corporation's planning department, Tramika Cherry Wall. Trey, would you like to answer that question?
Sure, Veronica. Part of the reason why flex was halted was we actually halted a lot of our services during COVID, and they did not have a lot of deviations. So when we started to re-implement services, the deviation part wasn't one that was implemented.
Thank you, Trey, for joining and being available to answer some of these questions.
No problem.
So we appreciate the questions that are coming in. I'm scrolling through and I'm not seeing any hands. So one thing that I'd like to point out in the remaining 3 minutes until we restart the presentation is that if you look at the distance between Georgetown and Millsboro on a Google map, you'll see that it is just under 10 miles between the two communities, and in a vehicle that is about a 16-minute drive or so. And when you look at the land use around in between those two communities, you'll notice that it is indeed very rural. You'll have a connector road or an arterial road, and it's surrounded by a lot of open land. And it was important for us to focus this pilot on a community that did not have the density that a city such as Wilmington have or other large cities do, which are often better served just because of the number of riders in those communities using, better served with more routes. So there's a significant amount, I think nearly more than 50% of our bus routes for the state do pass through the city of Wilmington. But we wanted to ensure that riders who are very dependent and reliant on our bus service, particularly in Sussex County, were being offered some different service. We have heard as a transit agency for a long time that residents in Sussex County in particular have been clamoring for improved transit options. So this was one of the reasons why these communities were a focus of our application for this federal grant. And Nate, any final comments before we restart at the top of the hour to any of our participants on the call right now?
I just want to say that this is I think a great solution for Georgetown and Millsboro. I guess we'll learn over time how well it's adopted by the community, but this isn't a replacement for all fixed route services. This is a very good solution for something where we have a circulator service or we have opportunities to expand service areas. But one of the goals of this program really is to connect people to the fixed route buses. So our buses that go between towns in Sussex County. We really want to be able to get more people on board and then serve the people who get off those buses in Georgetown and Millsboro and get them to work, get them to their appointments, get them to the store and other places they might be trying to get to.
Thank you, Nate, for those final thoughts on that very important point. So we are going to restart at 1:02 and feel free to join us for the next round. But otherwise, help us spread the word. We're doing another public information session tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. So please do share the information. You can find the link at the website, dartfirststate.com, programs/dartconnect. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. All right, so if you just joined us on the Dart Connect webinar, we're repeating our presentation from 12:30. Just for anyone who came in late, we'll be running through it beginning right now at 1:02. So good afternoon again, and welcome to round 2 of the virtual public information session for Dart Connect, March 30th, 2021. So if you miss anything during today's event, and for your note, this event is being recorded and will be posted to the program website for Dart Connect at dartfirststate.com/program/dartconnect. So a couple of basic things to orient you to this presentation. So first, I want to start with introductions. My name is Nathan Attard. I am the strategic planner in the Office of Innovation at the Delaware Transit Corporation, which does business in Delaware as Dart First State. I'm also joined on this webinar by Veronica Vanterpool, who is the Chief Innovation Officer of the Delaware Transit Corporation. We will both join at the end for question and answer, should anybody have any questions or answers about this presentation. So a little bit about webinar logistics. Everyone on this presentation is on mute. We will have a presentation of about 20 minutes today, followed by a question and answer period. You can ask questions by using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You can also use the raise your hand function of Zoom, and we will unmute you during the Q&A period. You will also have to unmute yourself on your end. So if there's any challenge there, just check your mute settings. If you called in using your phone, we're unable to take your questions verbally. However, you're able to email us at dtc_dartconnect@delaware.gov with any questions you might have. We're monitoring this and waiting for your questions. So we're here today to talk about Dart Connect, and Dart Connect is an on-demand microtransit service. So microtransit, think about words like microscope and other words like that. So generally means smaller. So smaller vehicles serving fewer people than conventional bus routes, traveling to more precise locations closer to where people are coming from or going to. In transit language, microtransit is a demand response service. Dart has done demand response service before, and the Flex was a great example of that, where people could book deviations off the main routes of the fixed route Flex service within 1 mile. Unfortunately, these deviations stopped with COVID in March of 2020 and have not resumed to date. Fortunately, in August of 2020, DART was notified that it received a Federal Transit Administration Accelerating Innovative Mobility Grant to convert the 901 and 902 bus routes into a microtransit service as part of an integrated mobility system for Sussex County. This is going to be a new type of service to Delaware, and it will take place over a 12-month pilot between April of 2021 through April of 2022. With customer feedback, ridership trends, and other criteria to learn about how this service is working for people in Georgetown and Millsboro, we're excited to bring this to you with our project partner, Via Transportation. Via is a global transportation company. They both directly operate this type of service in many cities. So they hire their own drivers, use their own software to run it. But they also are increasingly partnering with transit agencies around the US and the world to provide this service. And that's the route that DART is taking here. So this is going to continue to be operated by the friendly DART drivers, who drive the 901 and 902 with DART reservations on the phone booking rides for you, and DART support staff every step of the way. So this project started with a number of different goals. First goal here is to improve mobility. We've estimated that by shifting this type of service to a demand response service, we can potentially serve twice as many people within walking distance of public transit than we could with the existing 901, 902 service. This type of service also will increase frequency and reliability. So everyone with a phone to call us or an app will be able to get a ride in the Georgetown and Millsboro service areas within about 15 minutes or so, in comparison to the prior 901 and 902 service, which provided an hourly service. We're excited that this type of project will transform the transit experience. It will allow people to be able to precisely track their ride so they know when to expect it, let them know if it's running late, and when it's arrived so they're able to get there within a timely way to keep the bus moving. It'll also allow for connections to our other DART bus services, namely the 206, our bus to Lewis, the 212, our bus through Western Sussex County and down to Delmar, the 215, which goes from Millsboro to Rehoboth, and the 303, the inter-county bus from Dover to Georgetown. It'll allow people to get around the county and the state in a time frame without a long wait. One of the key goals here as well is to deliver cost-effective service in rural communities. We can provide similar service in a much broader area using a demand response type model for the same cost versus adding another circulator style bus service as existed with the 901 and 902. And we just want to reiterate to our customers that this is a pilot program. It's to test an innovative service model. If it doesn't work, we're going to be looking at other ways to serve you, and we're committed to do that. I mentioned some of our bus routes, and actually all of our bus routes that serve Georgetown and Millsboro here. So the 201, the 206, the 212, the 215, and the 303. You can see those on a map on the left, which is just right out of our service book. We also have the flex zones here indicated on the map. That is what we currently provide for service. To the right, an image of our Georgetown Transit Hub, which is our busiest stop in Georgetown and Millsboro. Pre-COVID had a ridership of about 135, or a use of about 135 people getting on and off buses each day. Sorry about that, everyone. So I mentioned earlier, when we say Dart Connect, we're talking about the microtransit service that's being provided, although there are a few other aspects to Dart Connect, which we'll get into at the end of the presentation. As I said a minute ago, microtransit is kind of what it sounds like, so a smaller version of transit. So we've got smaller vehicles. They go to more precise locations closer to where people are coming from and going to, generally serving fewer numbers of people than our fixed route services. Our rides are all shared. So even though it might be you on the bus alone at times, that bus is also available to anyone else who might need that ride. Our routes are always flexible. So if it happens to be you are in a very predictable neighborhood of transit riders who all take the bus to work the same time every day, then your bus ride every day is going to look largely the same. But from what we know, generally we have all sorts of people who are riding our buses for all sorts of different reasons. And every time somebody requests a ride, it'll create just a slightly different route. Our software for microtransit does its best to minimize delay. When you book your ride, you'll know how long your trip will take. So there shouldn't be any huge surprises there. It's not like we're going to put you on a bus and then it's going to take you much longer to get somewhere than it told you it would when you booked your trip. You're not going to be waiting for everyone in the neighborhood who needs a ride in the next hour. One of the things we want to highlight here is providing convenient connections to our fixed route service. By the summer, you'll be able to coordinate your Dart Connect ride with your Dart bus ride to minimize wait times in the transfer between the two. When it comes to destinations, as mentioned already, we more than doubled the service area relative to the prior 901, 902 service. So we're excited to be able to connect people to new locations. And we'll preview the app in just a couple of slides. The easiest way to book a ride on Dart Connect is through the Dart Connect app. The Dart Connect app will be available in the next few days by April 1st. There is also a secondary option to book trips on Dart Connect, and it's going to be the same way that users have historically booked trips on the Flex route. So if you're a Flex route user, you know that the number 1-800-652-DART option 3 will get you a reservationist who will be able to help you with the ride. In a matter of about 2 minutes, you'll be able to have a ride booked by calling this 1-800 number. And the reservationist will kindly let you know when your bus is arriving and where to pick it up. And if you happen to not be able to use a smartphone, but you do have a cell phone, the VIA software is actually going to provide you update messages via text. So you'll be able to get information about your ride status even without a smartphone. So as I had mentioned earlier, with a shift from 901, 902 to Dart Connect, we have more than doubled our service area relative to the former 901 and 902 buses, which is defined by whether people have access to transit within convenient walking distance of their home. Many of the places that you see on the list on the left were previously served by the 901 and 902 buses, but being able to expand these zones a little bit gives us an opportunity to serve some additional areas that we previously did not serve. As we all recover from COVID-19 and try to get people more safely to work, we're excited that this will create new connections for people that didn't exist before. This slide is a quick preview of the Dart Connect app. As mentioned earlier, the Dart Connect app will be available in the next few days in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, available for download. You will unfortunately not be able to book a ride using Dart Connect until the service launch date of April 12th. However, you can begin to understand its functionality, test it out a little bit, set up a profile for you to be able to book trips right away on day one when the service launches. So we have a custom screen here on number one. So when you, on the first app image, so when you launch the app for the first time, that is what you will see. In the second image, that shows an example of how you would identify where you would like to go using the Dart Connect app. So where you're coming from is identified in two different potential ways. So many people have location enabled on their phone, and the Dart Connect app will pick that up, so it'll know where you are. If you don't have that enabled, no problem. You can just let people know, or you can let the app know, excuse me, where you're currently located and where you're going to need a ride from. And same thing, you're going to confirm that to start. So if, for example, you're not exactly where you would like to pick up a ride from, you can actually shift that location using the app. So once you confirm where you're coming from and where you'd like to go, you get to what the preview of the third screen is, which is directions of where you need to go to pick up the bus. So in this case, you can see an example of somebody booking a trip from their home and having to walk to the corner. This is not a door-to-door service for most people. It will ask you to walk a little bit just to make the trips a little bit faster, so we're not pulling into everyone's driveway and down everyone's street. And I just want to reiterate before we move on that if you don't have access to a phone that can use apps, no problem. This is a service that can also be booked by calling 1-800-652-DART and using the option 3, which is the same number our Flex users will be used to using to call to book a Flex trip. We do want to emphasize that as part of this program, there are no fixed route bus stops. There are no fixed bus stops, excuse me. There are many fixed route bus stops. In fact, there are 36 fixed route bus stops in our service area, all of which will have information about how to book a trip on Dart Connect. And in fact, we want you to use Dart Connect to get to those fixed route bus services or fixed route bus services that stop at those fixed route bus stops. So Dart Connect stops could be in any number of different places, but people are directed to them by geographical locations. So for example, street corners. If you happen to live really close to an existing fixed route bus stop, it's entirely possible that the Dart Connect app will just direct you there as well. The app is aware of all of those different locations, and that might be the safest intersection for you to pick up a bus. So we want to talk a little bit about fares. So this is a new program for DART and its employees, in addition to it being a new program for all of our customers. So for a 30-day promotional period, which will start with the launch date of April 12th through May 11th, all rides on DART Connect are going to be free. We're doing this so we can get used to it, and also so you can get used to it. It's a different type of service. As mentioned, this is the first time this type of service has existed in Delaware, so none of us are used to it. And we want to make sure that the service that we provide is worth the fare that you pay us every day. So by Wednesday, May 12th, when we institute fares on this service, we'll be ready to collect it. So our fare structure for this is going to follow the existing DART First State fixed route fare policy. So the one that you're used to for riding 901, 902, or any of our fixed route services. So rides are priced at $2 with all the passes and discounts that apply to our fixed route service. There are a couple of different ways to pay for your fares coming on May 12th. So we know many of our customers will pay with cash, and our vehicles will continue to maintain their fare boxes. And cash is used the same way you would on a fixed route bus, where you have exact change. Our operators do not make change. But we also have this app to be fully integrated with Dart Pass, so that you will be able to book your tickets in advance using that. So the two accounts will be linked, your Dart Connect app and your Dart Pass app. You can either pay for an individual ticket, or the Dart Connect app will tell you to use a pass that you have stored in your Dart Pass app. And I believe we covered question 3. So paying with cash is the same as you would on a fixed route bus. A little bit on the service. So there is no fixed route schedule, unlike our former 901 and 902 service, which was a hybrid fixed route demand response service. There is no more fixed schedule. So this is a completely demand response service. Our service hours are exactly those of the current 901 and 902. So we're providing service. You can book a ride on the app or by calling in from 5:45 a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday. There is no booking past 7:45 p.m. just because that ride will likely take you about 15 minutes to get where you're going to based on our rural geography. As I've mentioned earlier, the same people who are driving 901 and 902 will be driving for Dart Connect. This is a service that is operated by Dart and its contractor in Sussex County. And then we do not have reservations for this type of service. So there are some commonalities to Dart's paratransit service here, but there are many differences. And one of them is that rides are not reserved in advance. Rides are when you need them. In terms of some of the access questions that we have received so far, so this service is fully wheelchair accessible. All of the vehicles in the Dart Connect Microtransit pilot are wheelchair accessible vehicles. The way that you would go about using indicating that you're a wheelchair user is through the app, where you can input that as a setting in the app, so that the app will always know that you are a wheelchair user and you're requesting a ride. And if you don't have the app, you're able to, when you set up your initial profile for Dart Connect with the Dart reservationist by calling that 1-800-652-DART number, let them know that you are a wheelchair user, and they will ensure that that option is enabled for you. So our second access question here, can I book a ride for somebody else? And the answer to that is yes. So there's a couple different answers to this. So the first one is, if you're traveling with a group of people, you can request a ride for them. So say you're a family of 4, you can just use one app to book rides for all 4 people in your family. You would indicate, for example, that you have, say, 2 adults, a student, and a person under 48 inches, which per DART fare policy currently is a no charge ride. And similar answered, but in a different way to this question, if you happen to represent an organization in Georgetown that serves transit riders, we can provide you access to book rides for other people. We're really excited to potentially work with partners around Georgetown and Millsboro to help them better integrate with this new transit system, this integrated mobility system, so that they can bring new people to their organization, and those people can receive the goods and services that they provide. And then is this app available in other languages? And the answer to that is yes, this app is also available in Spanish. And the way that that works is when you download the app, if you have your phone language set as Spanish, this app will be fully in Spanish. We just want to take a quick minute to preview the new branding and look for the existing Cutaway buses that currently serve 901 and 902, but will transition to Dart Connect on April 12th. And in fact, if you're using the app to book a ride, you'll actually see an image of each of the unique vehicles. When you go to book a ride on Dart Connect, it'll let you know the vehicle that's showing up. Not so important to start, but as our program evolves, it will become important, and we'll jump into that right now. So there are a couple of additional phases for Dart Connect. And this is really our major change. It's a change in service. The phases 2 and phases 3 are less a change in how we do something versus really adding new to the system. And I think that's what we're really excited about here. So in phase 2, Dart Connect will show you bus schedules and route info for all buses in Sussex County. And the Dart Connect app will then route you either on a connected Dart Connect microtransit trip to the fixed route bus, or it can actually suggest in many cases that, hey, perhaps this fixed route service that you can walk to relatively close is the better option. Why wait for Dart Connect? It also will introduce private operators. So we're looking specifically at taxis and non-emergency medical transport vehicles to bring them in so that they're able to serve people using Dart Connect. And when this phase launches, one of the things I would like to highlight is that if you prefer to ride on the Dart operated vehicles, you'll have a number of different options available. So for example, it might say that you've got a taxi that could potentially serve you or a Dart vehicle. You can pick between the two. So we just want to make our customers aware of that. And then for phase 3, it will conduct the same sort of integrated mobility booking service using the Dart Connect app as in phase 2. As it does for Sussex County, it will extend statewide. So for people in Georgetown or Millsboro who need to get to Dover or Wilmington, you'll be able to figure that out. For those of you familiar with our service, like connecting through Dover to get to Wilmington. So there is a little bit of complication in that, but one app, no more flipping through schedule books. We're excited about that. So that is the conclusion of our presentation today. For those of you that joined late, this is the second run through of this. We ran through this once and had a brief question and answer session with a couple of good questions. We're here with any questions that you might have till 1:30. We'd be excited to hear from you. We do have a program website for this. Our website is located at dartfirststate.com/program/dartconnect. And check it out regularly. We keep adding stuff as the apps land in the App Store in the next couple of days. We'll get the links up to those. And in addition, you'll be able to watch this presentation on our website. We're excited to post it there as well. So if you know anyone who is interested in Dart Connect but missed this, it will be available there. We're also available to talk, so you can find us on email, dtc_dartconnect@delaware.gov. And with that, we will take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Nate, for another great round 2 of the presentation. I'm not seeing anything yet. No raised hands, nothing in the Q&A just yet. I do want to note again that on our website for Dart Connect, we do have materials available for download, our coming soon flyer, and also our FAQ documents, both available now in English and Spanish, and Haitian Creole will be added very soon. So if you work or provide services within any of those language networks or to individuals speaking those languages, you can find some more information on Dart Connect's website to share with those within your network.
Yeah, and if you know anyone in your network who is interested in Dart Connect, feel free to send them a message and copy our email here, dtc_dartconnect@delaware.gov. We're interested in talking to anyone and everyone who potentially can benefit from this program, especially people who work with a lot of people. We know that Georgetown is an area that's very underserved when it comes to the transportation sector. It's a very auto-dependent community. This type of service will provide new levels of access. We want to make sure everyone knows about it.
Well, I'm certainly very excited for April 12th. I expect to be between Georgetown and Millsboro quite a bit for the next few weeks as I test out the service and use the service, and am able to report back as a user of the service. So Nate and I have been with many of our colleagues paying attention to a lot of the details and preparing for launch. So, so we did just get a question, Nate. Will there be a bike rack for cyclists on the bus?
Yeah, so the vehicles that we're using for Dart Connect are the existing vehicles for 901 and 902. So those will continue to maintain the bike racks that they presently have. So as we look into phase 2 of this program, where we potentially add other vehicles, we'll work with our development team on the app to make sure that there's a way for users to understand whether the vehicle showing up with them has a bike rack available. But for launch, all vehicles are bike rack compatible.
I actually appreciated that question. I appreciate all the questions, but we've not gotten that question before in many of the sessions and meetings we've held. So that's a good point to continue to share, considering we're also promoting intermodality and people being able to use different ways of mobility options and getting around the communities, both on their 2 feet, whether they're rolling, whether they're biking, whether they're taking a fixed route bus, etc. So we want to be clear about supporting all these other ways of accessing our services, and bikes is a key one. I know large systems across the country that don't have full fleets of buses with bike racks. So it's a huge shout out to Delaware Transit Corporation for ensuring that DART's buses are equipped with bike racks. Now we just need to increase the utilization.
Yeah, and bike use is just going to continue to increase in Georgetown. There's a new trail facility being constructed there, the Georgetown to Lewis Trail, right? Which emphasis lately has been on the Lewis end, but I believe the Georgetown Trail is under construction relatively soon. So hopefully see more people taking bikes to transit in Georgetown.
Not seeing anything popping up. Again, for those of you who've just joined, we are going to repeat today's presentation tomorrow evening from 5 to 6 p.m. for those who may not be able to participate during the workday or on the lunch hour. So if you can help spread the word for tomorrow, you can find the Zoom link and meeting details again on Dart Connect's website, which is on dartfirststate.com/programs/DartConnect.
Yeah, and if you can't remember the more complicated version of our website, and our website is new, so if you try to Google Dart Connect, it comes up lower in the results. Just visit dartfirststate.com. Our colleagues posted an image there of the future Dart Connect vehicles, where you can get some additional information that'll take you right to our site.
And I think we're just about at the half hour, Nate. So I want to thank you for a great presentation. I want to thank our support team of Todd Revis and Shamika Cherry Wall for joining us, and then all of you for being participants in today's public info session. Please do spread the word for tomorrow's session. Thank you for your questions and your interest. We look forward to connecting with you on Dart Connect again soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.